Hi folks. So what are we, nearly 6 months in? I thought this would be a good time to just reflect on the channel and share with you some of my journey since I started this YouTube business back in April this year. I suppose the first question to answer is, why did I start a YouTube channel? I'm not sure I've got a very good answer for that, really. At the beginning of this year, maybe at the very end of last year, I was titting about on YouTube and I found BookTube, which is not a thing I particularly was aware of before, and specifically science fiction BookTube. I ended up watching a lot of Moid's videos at Media Death Cult. I think he was the first one, and primarily the only one that I watched for a little while. And he's got quite a few years of back catalogue, so I sort of waded through his videos, particularly enjoying his book haul videos. And then I found Matt over at Book Pilled, and again, as big back catalogue there, I worked through those. It's a mixture of reviews and some lists and book hauls and so on, and I watched those as well. It's a different vibe but similar sort of idea. And at that point I began to get some pretty big-headed thoughts in my head along the lines of, I wonder if I could do that. I mean, how hard, as I laugh at this now, but how hard can it be? You just sit in front of books and talk about books. It can't be that hard. But it turns out it is really hard. I mean, well, it's extremely easy to make bad videos, and I certainly did my share of that at the beginning. We'll come back to that later on. But it's really hard, properly tricky to make good videos that people will actually want to watch in any great numbers. And I certainly haven't cracked the code on that yet. And maybe I never will. We'll see. And to this day, I still watch videos that people way more talented and experienced than me, and plainly wonder how on earth they've done it, whether that's the effort they've clearly put into the research, the production values of the video, the editing that's gone into it, whatever those things are. I can only aspire to reaching that sort of quality at some point in the future. But until then, I'm sort of meandering along, doing my own thing. So I guess I didn't really have an objective in mind when I started the channel, other than for it to be something to do, just to try out, see if it was fun, a bit of a hobby to add to my list of hobbies. And, maybe I'll have some fun along the way. So that's where we are. So 5-6 months down the line, we are where we are. So we can take a look at some stats. So subscribers first then. So it's been a kind of steady flow. It's pretty slow at first, there were days where I get no subscribers at all, no new subscribers, but then it's sort of trickle in 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 a day, and it continued really at that rate. Maybe increasing a little bit after a while, and particularly helped by 2 surges in subscriber count that I got from the 2-part interview with Steve over at Outlaw Bookseller. So I published the first part on my channel back at the end of August, and he's only in the last week or so published part 2 on his channel. We had some technical difficulties / logistical difficulties getting the second part of the video across to him so that he could post it, and then various other incidents and accidents along the way. Those 2 things generated a bunch of traffic to my site, and some people foolish enough to subscribe while they were here. So there were, thank you, all of you. There were somewhere between 30 and 40, I think, for the first part, which I posted on my channel, and Steve promoted on his. And then the second part, probably nearer to 40 or 50 people who were diverted here when Steve posted the second part. So thank you to all of you that have come via that route. I hope that that you stick around, and thank you to Steve if you're watching. I appreciate the boost, much appreciated. So at the time of recording this, and there might be a few more since, there are 547 people subscribed to this channel. 547, which still blows me away. So we snuck past 500. So thank you to all of you who have subscribed, particularly those of you that have stuck around. And if you're watching this and haven't yet subscribed, then frankly, why not? You're letting the site down. So from a video point of view, there are 73, now 74, including this one, videos on the channel, of which 26 are book hauls, which mean I literally can't do the sums. How bad is that? There are approximately 40 that are not book hauls. And I've typically posted between 2 and 3 videos a week, sometimes 4 if I'm feeling particularly frisky. So watch time is the next stat. So this is another key statistic for the YouTube machine. The YouTube machine cares because it wants viewers, so the likes of you and me, watching content on YouTube as much as possible for as long as possible, so that Google can serve those pesky ads to us and generate revenue for YouTube and for Google. I care about it because more watch time means more people are watching, obviously, and importantly, hopefully that they stay watching what I've posted. And that feeds my machine to the extent that I have one. That gives me an indication of what people like and what's got more watch time, sort of indicates that there's some sticking power to that video, whether that's in the initial period immediately after posting, people are actually watching it, or if it picks up views and therefore watch time later on. That's a good clue for me as to the kinds of things that do well. And then from a watch time point of view, with an increasing number of videos available to watch on my channel and an increasing number of subscribers and other people watching the channel, then you'd expect watch time to increase over time, and that's exactly what's happened. It was pretty slow to start with. In April, I didn't post my first one until something like the 25th or 26th of April, so there were only a few days of April that counted from a stats point of view, and there were probably 2 or 3 maximum videos in that time, and not very many views back then. So some very enthusiastic people, diligent even, have gone back and watched some of those. They still get the odd view, and as we'll come to later on, I'm not especially proud of those videos, but they're there. They're part of the history of the channel. So slow to start with, and then it's picked up pretty nicely through the summer, and it's climbed pretty well. And I think October, if it continues the way that it started in the first week, which it might not, given that I got a bit of a boost from Steve's channel in the first week of October, but if it continues in more or less the same vein, then October should be a bigger number than September, which would be a nice trend. Let's talk about cash money. So BookTube, I think particularly science fiction BookTube, is not the YouTube niche that you would pick if you wanted to make the big moolah, the big bucks, the big spondulics. There is not, I don't think, big money to be made in this niche. So I'm under no illusion about this becoming my career or even a lucrative side hustle, honestly. Really, at most, it might at some point in the future contribute a teeny bit to fund my book buying habit. And really, if I ever get to the point where it buys me a book or 2 from time to time, that would be awesome. I'd be very made up if that happens. So drum roll, please. The grand total of revenue that I have earned to date on YouTube is £0 and 0 pence. Absolutely nothing. Zip. Nada. Nothing. 0. And that's for the very simple reason that I have not yet reached YouTube's monetization threshold, which was changed earlier this year. It used to be 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days. But it's now less than that. It's 500 subs and 3,000 watch hours. So I just blew through the 500 subscription hurdle, so that's great. But I'm about 400 as we sit here, about 400, maybe nearer 300 now, hours of watch time short of that 3,000 watch hour hurdle. So I haven't got there. I haven't quite got there yet, but I should do soon, probably by the end of this month. But as I said, I'll be perfectly happy if I never get any money out of it. That was very far from my mind. It didn't even enter my mind, in fact, when I started this YouTube channel. But as I said, if I scrape together a few pennies a month and at the end of the year I can buy a few books with it, I'll be extremely happy. So let's take a look at the videos. We won't look at the whole lot, but let's look at the top 10. So book hauls are always popular on my channel, relatively speaking. They probably get, on average, book hauls are more popular than the other videos. I think we all get vicarious kind of joy from seeing people. I certainly like watching a book haul video, and they're the ones that I find easiest to make as well, really, because I'm just sitting in front of my shelves here going, oh look, I've got a book. It really doesn't, it's not difficult, and I like getting books, and I like sharing the fact that I've got books. I like making you all dead jealous, with those books. But you know, there's a bit of editing that goes on as well. So it's not completely effort free, but they are easy and fun to make. But the book hauls that do extra well are the ones where I explicitly say that there is vintage science fiction books involved, and that vintage is the sort of, in our corner of YouTube, that is the somewhat magic word. Having said that, I am delighted that that from the top 5, as you can see there, 3 of the top 5 are not book hauls. The aforementioned interview, part 1 anyway, of the interview with Steve, Outlaw Bookseller, is almost at, and may have passed by the time I air this video. It may have, it's almost at 1,000 views. As I said, helped by Steve recently publishing part 2, which will have attracted people that haven't yet watched part 1, so they came across to my channel to watch the first half first. Top 10 spaceships was immediately popular. That's the closest video I've had to going viral. It didn't go viral at all, but certainly more people watched that in its first sort of 3 or 4 days than have ever watched any of my other videos, and then it's continued to climb ever since. So that's popular. We Will Like a Spaceship, I suppose. Top 10 tropes of sci-fi, that's been a slow burn but continues to build views. But if we look at the next 5, so videos 6 to 10 in my list sorted by volume of views, all of those are book hauls. So if I'm going to look ahead, I think in the next stage of the channel's development, if I can use that grand phrase, I'd like to see more of the non-haul content do better, which is on me. It means I have to make better videos. So what have I learned over the last 5, getting on for 6 months? Short answer, a ton of things. Every video, and there's been 74 of them so far, including this one, is an opportunity to learn. So, you know, if any of you are sitting there wondering, you know, should I start a YouTube channel? My advice to you is not to overthink it. Just get on and do it. And the more you make, the more you'll learn. And if you're like me, I had 0 experience of doing this kind of thing when I started. Your first several videos will be pretty shit. Mine definitely were. The sound was awful. The quality was poor. I was messing around with. I was frustrated with how long it was taking to load a video up. So I tried to do it in some kind of compressed format, and so it looked like a 1970s satellite TV image. For some of my earlier videos, they looked terrible. I was sat there kind of like a statue, looked like I had a poker up my arse. And my delivery, if I can call it that, was really just embarrassingly bad. I watched them. I can't watch them. I just cringe now when I watch them. I think that's pretty common. So I didn't edit them. I didn't really know what editing was. So I would just record a video and then post it onto YouTube. It didn't occur to me that I needed to. I'm like I say, I was a complete, absolute rank amateur at this when I started. And so the first few I didn't edit at all. And then I realized that my work laptop, which is Windows driven, has a video editor, which is pretty basic, but allows you to sort of cut stuff out, at least, and to add some basic images onto the video to sort of tart it up a bit. So I did that for a while, and then I started to think that probably I shouldn't be using my work laptop for this. So I treated myself in the summer to a new laptop. I also invested in some professional video editing software. Very capable. Much more capable than I am, in fact, and I'm still very much learning, taking baby steps on how to use it. I also posted, in the early days, I do make a point of checking every time now, but I posted more than one video to YouTube without any sound. And it was only when someone would comment on the video and go, I can't hear anything, and I would go, oh shit. I didn't have a clue about what made a good title or a good video description, and those are important because they're the, as well as the thumbnail, that's what people see on YouTube. So if you want people to, the kind of combination of the thumbnail, title and description, the first kind of line or two that's visible before you have to click more to see what's in there, that combination is really what will trigger people to click or not click. I had no idea what might be a good video idea and what wasn't. I'm still not sure I do now, really. If a video that I do gets more views than another, it's more by luck than judgment, so that's still a work in progress. I think really I wasn't safe to be allowed out on YouTube by myself, but I did it anyway. I was super self-conscious for the first month or two, kind of embarrassed or or fearful even that it would all fall flat on its face and I'd make a complete idiot of myself in the process. Even to the extent that I didn't tell my family that I had a YouTube channel at first. It was a big secret. I was just sure that they would all mock me, and I couldn't take the and my fragile ego just wouldn't take it. So I did fess up after a couple of weeks, reluctantly actually, and I think I only told my wife to start with, and I think my kids might have found out that I had one when they caught me looking at the stats on YouTube to see how something had done. And they've got, have you got a YouTube channel? Yes. And of course they didn't mock me at all, or only mildly. They were broadly quite encouraging. Sometimes even watch one, two of them, or no, not really. It's not really their cup of tea. I still haven't told friends or work colleagues though. I might work up to that over the next few months. Once I'm a bit more established, I guess is what I'm saying. I definitely feel more comfortable, or rather less uncomfortable, in front of the camera now. I think what's helped me is to remember that I'm speaking to a group of people. I mean, clearly you're not actually here in the room with me. Well, it's helpful to imagine that sometimes. But I'm not speaking to my phone. I'm speaking to the people behind the phone, and sometimes that works better than others. I definitely want to continue to work on what I laughably call my delivery style, particularly for the longer videos where I have a script of sorts that I'm working from. They still feel pretty forced. That's maybe too strong a word. Wooden, maybe a little bit rote. I'm so concentrating on the words that I forget to emote. I forget to emote while I'm reading it, so I can seem a little bit sort of rigid while I'm doing that. Certainly that's the impression that I get when I watch those videos back. It's a balance to strike. So the videos where I just wing it, like the book hauls, are more natural looking, but do have plenty of ums and ers and hand waving while I find the words that I want, which doesn't make good TV, and they are a pain to edit out. On the other hand, I do think that more of my personality, such as it is, comes across in those videos, I think, which probably makes them more engaging than the others. And ideally I'd have more of that vibe come across in the longer scripted videos. It's a work in progress, and I really appreciate you coming along for the ride. So what have my favourite things been? Well, the learning experience has been fun and continues to be fun. I'm sure it will continue to be fun in the future. I really like the comments that I get on the videos. I'm beginning to feel like, really mostly by accident, that I found or borrowed a little community here on this channel. I really love it when people take the time to comment on my videos, and my aim is to respond to everyone. I suppose in the dim and distant future that might become impractical, but for now it's a joy and I really enjoy it. People are very generous in those comments. It could be with top tips on books that I might like or might have missed out on, or occasionally folks set me straight on something I got wrong. Occasionally people tell me that they really enjoyed a video, so that apparently does happen. So some of these folks that have commented on my videos are now book swapping buddies, and I'm really looking forward to expanding that community over time. It's really been fun. My head, and to an extent my book collection, is bursting with the book recommendations that I've given myself through doing the research for some of the videos. Lots and lots of books, so many books, so little time. Just thinking ahead then, what do I want to work on? My delivery, so called, as discussed. I want to improve my editing, so that's just working on some techniques. I will say it's very time consuming. It takes way longer to edit a video than it does to record it in the first place. It varies a bit depending on the type of the video, but it could easily be 4 or 5 times longer to edit a video than it is to record it in the first place. But hopefully I can continue to get better at that over time. So I'm going to experiment and continue to look for ways to tickle the mystical YouTube algorithm. Every YouTuber, which is what I suppose I am now, dreams of a video going viral, and this is consistent with some advice I've seen around and about the place. Was actually to ignore all that kind of crap and try to make content that my audience, that's you, will actually like, and I just continue to experiment with the content and hope that the rest of it follows. Talking of audience, I'd really love to hear from you. Was this channel update interesting at all? Should I repeat it every now and again? I'm thinking maybe twice a year maximum, just to see, and then we'll see how it goes. But also, what would you like to see on the channel in the coming months? So do let me have your ideas in the comments. Remember how much I like comments. But so I'll take that into account. I'm curious to know what you might like to see. But my current thoughts are that there'll be less book hauls, not because I don't love a book haul, but because I don't have the room. On the other hand, who am I kidding? I'm not going to be able to stop buying books. There will be more lists, top 10s and the like, which really are just code for book recommendations, for me as much as for you. I want to develop the space opera theme I started a few weeks ago. That was a look at the subgenre in general, but I didn't really spend much time talking about books and authors. So I'm thinking of doing a tour of the high points from a couple of decades at a time and see how we get on. I might do some deep dives into a particular aspect of one book or into a particular author. And I should probably put a proverbial stake in the ground and declare my favourite science fiction books in a top 10 list or something, or at least my current favourite. That may change over time, of course. I've been meaning to do a library tour for ages, but haven't quite got around to it. not least because I'd have to tidy up my office first, and it's a right mess. But that would be good to do now that it's fairly full. There is still space on some of the shelves, not a lot, but a bit. But I think it would be worthwhile doing, just to, if nothing else, than to share the absolute chaos that is my filing system for books. But let me know in the comments if you have any other bright ideas that you think might be worth me tackling. But that's it. That's the SciFiScavenger channel update for October 2023, 5-6 months into the life of this channel, and onwards and upwards. Until the next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.